Digital distraction and phone addiction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Hansen. I'm currently a sophomore studying education. Like many people, I use my phone throughout the day to stay connected with family, friends, and classmates. I started to think about how much time I spend on my phone, realizing how often it distracts me from getting schoolwork done and being with the people around me. Thinking about that made me interested in learning more about how digital distraction affects interpersonal communication, which is what I'd like to share with you today. I want to discuss an issue that affects almost every one of us, no matter our age or background. Most of us have a cell phone or on us wherever we go, using it to communicate with friends and family, watch videos, and stay up to date about what's going on around the world. Smartphones have become a very useful tool, but they can also create new challenges for how we communicate face-to-face. The thesis is that digital distraction and phone addiction have become major barriers to interpersonal communication. It can reduce active listening, weaken relationships, increasing misunderstandings, and taking away meaningful conversations in person. However, communication habits, healthy technology boundaries, and increased awareness, these problems can be reduced. To understand why this issue matters, we will first define some important terms. Interpersonal communication is the exchange of thoughts, feelings, and information between people through verbal and nonverbal communication. The next term is digital distraction. Digital distraction refers to having one's attention interrupted or divided by devices such as smartphones, laptops, smartwatches, and social media and notifications. Another term is phone addiction. Not everyone who has a phone is addicted, but phone addiction is an unhealthy dependence on smartphones that causes someone to check notifications, even if this means interfering with daily responsibilities. There is not just one cause. Instead, there are several factors working together to encourage digital distraction and phone usage. Social media companies compete for people's attention by designing apps with notifications, likes, comments, endless scrolling, and streaks. This encourages people to spend more time on their phone and dissociate with others. Social pressure also contributes to the problem. Many people feel expected to respond to text messages immediately. Some worry about missing important updates, invitations, or news if they're away from their phone for too long. People tend to have what's called FOMO, or fear of missing out. Fear of missing out encourages people to stay constantly connected, even during meals, conversations, and family gatherings. So, who's maintaining this problem? Technology companies currently play an important role because they continue developing applications designed to maximize user engagement. Social media influencers also contribute by encouraging constant online activity and creating pressure to stay connected. However, it would be inaccurate to place all the blame on technology companies alone. Society as a whole has normalized constant phone use. There are workplaces that expect their employees to be available even after work hours. Same for schools, often require online communication with teachers or classmates to work on assignments. Some friends expect to get a response immediately. Even families frequently sit together with each other, focuses on different screens. Individuals also contribute to the problem by continuing these habits. Every time we are in a conversation, we check our phones, respond to notifications, or prioritize online interactions over face-to-face conversations. We don't realize how much digital distraction there is in this world. The problem will continue because smartphones provide immediate convenience. They are entertainment, information, shopping, navigation, and countless other services in all on one device. Since these benefits are real and useful, it makes it easy for people to overlook the negative effects phone usage can have. Unfortunately, the consequences for interpersonal communication are becoming increasingly significant. Perhaps the most obvious effect is reduced active listening. Active listening requires giving someone our complete attention while they are speaking, making eye contact, asking thorough questions, providing feedback, and showing interest. When people frequently glance at their phones during conversations, active listening disappears. Instead of fully processing what other people are saying, some attention becomes divided between the conversation and the device. This behavior can lead to misunderstandings because important details have been missed. The speaker may need to repeat themselves, clarify information, or feel that their thoughts are not being taken seriously. Other harmful effects is that decline in meaningful conversations. Instead of discussing emotions, experience, goals, or personal challenges, conversations often become shorter and more superficial. Family dinners, social gatherings, and even time spent with close friends may have spurts or silences due to everyone looking at their phones. Over time, this reduces opportunities to develop empathy and emotional intelligence because meaningful conversations require practice. Digital distraction also contributes to increased interpersonal conflict. Many arguments today begin because one person feels ignored by other person's phone use. Couples frequently argue about how often screen time they are doing. Parents become frustrated when children ignore conversations while using devices. Friends may feel hurt when you're hanging out and they're too busy texting someone that isn't even there. Trust can also suffer. Constant phone use sometimes creates suspicion within relationships. Partners may wonder who someone is texting so often or why they are unavailable. While phones are not the cause of distrust, excessive use can create uncertainty and emotional distance. Mental health is another important concern connected to interpersonal communication. Smartphone use can cause an increase in anxiety, loneliness, stress, and depression in some individuals. People who spend more time interacting online sometimes experience less satisfaction with their real-world relationship because online interactions cannot fully replace face-to-face connections. Finally, digital distraction affects communications in education and professional settings. When students multitask during lectures, they tend to retain less information because divided attention reduces learning. In workplaces, meetings becomes less productive when participants frequently check emails or messages instead of contributing to discussion. Team collaboration, creativity, and trust all depend on focused communication, which becomes more difficult when digital distractions are constant. Now that we understand the causes and consequences of digital distraction and phone addiction, the next question becomes, what can we do about it? This problem is not impossible to solve. Smartphones are valuable tools, and the goal is not to eliminate technology altogether. Instead, we need to develop healthier habits that allows technology to improve our lives without replacing face-to-face communication. The first solution is to establish healthy technology boundaries. Boundaries help us determine when smartphone usage is appropriate and when it is not. For example, families can create phone-free dinners where phones are put away during meals. Friends can make it where they find something to do that doesn't include the phones, and they leave them inside or in the kitchen. The second solution is to practice active listening. Earlier, I defined active listening as giving someone your complete attention while they are speaking. Many communication experts suggest following the principle of listen to understand rather than listen to respond. Instead of thinking about what we could say to this person speaking, we could focus on understanding the speaker's thoughts and feelings. When people feel heard, relationships become stronger, trust increases, and misunderstandings become less common. The third solution is to become more aware of our own smartphone habits. Many people underestimate how often they check their phones throughout the day. Nowadays, most smartphones include screen time reports, which show how many hours are spent on certain apps and how much we pick up our phone that day. Other helpful solutions is managing notifications more effectively. Turning off unnecessary alerts, using Do Not Disturb mode during conversations, or placing the phone face down can reduce the temptation to constantly interrupt conversations. Parents play an important role because children tend to learn communication habits by watching adults. If a child sees parents checking their phones during conversations, they might think this is what they're supposed to do. On the other hand, adults who model respectful communication, like giving others their full attention, children are more likely to develop this habit. Maybe the most important solution is practicing mindfulness. Before reaching out for a phone, you can ask ourselves, is this notification urgent? Can this wait until the conversation is over? Research supports many of these solutions. According to the Pew Research Center, most Americans own smartphones, making digital communication an essential part of everyday life. While this technology offers many benefits, researchers also recognize the importance of balancing digital interactions with meaningful face-to-face communication. The American Psychological Association has also reported that excessive technology use may contribute to stress and interfere with healthy relationships when people become constantly connected without allowing themselves opportunities for interpersonal interaction. Communication researchers James McCroskey and Virginia Richmond have explained that effective interpersonal communication depends on attention, empathy, and active listening qualities that become much more difficult when people are continuously distracted by devices. As our society becomes increasingly connected throughout digital devices, interpersonal communication becomes even more valuable. We can have conversations that allow us to build trust, sovereignty problems, and develop relationships that cannot be replaced by a text message or social media post. In closing, digital distraction and phone addiction have become significant barriers to healthy interpersonal communication. Constant smartphone use reduces listening, active listening, weakness, emotional connections, increases misunderstandings, and creates conflict in both personal and professional relationships. These problems exist because of technological design, social expectations, and habits that have become normalized throughout society. However, by setting technology boundaries, practicing active listening, increasing awareness of our phone use, managing notifications, educating ourselves and others, and choosing to be fully present during conversations, we can strengthen our relationship and become more effective communicators. Thank you.